This is the Tri-State Time Machine, brought to you by Alex R. White, PLLC, at SueDistractedDriver.com. Each week, your host, Vanessa Hankins, and her guests share memories and stories about the past, the present, and the future of the Tri-State area. That's West Virginia, Kentucky, and the Ohio areas. If you used to live here, or you currently live here, you're going to catch yourself saying out loud, "Wow, I remember that." Now, here's Vanessa.
Hey guys, it's Vanessa. We're excited to be back with our first episode. I have Holly Smith-Mount here and Sarah Walling. You guys know them for City Council a lot of times. You might know Holly from our last episode that we had her on. We found out some pretty interesting travel details on her. That was a good time. So, ladies, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here.
Doing great.
This is exciting. I am
the
an
first ones in this studio.
I know. I'm an alumnus of this podcast, so
I need to start giving out awards.
Yeah. But I will say, before we get started, on a serious note, it's so bizarre to be here without WG.
It is.
I was so nervous the first time that you guys, when you had me last time, I was just terrified. And you both did a great job of making me feel comfortable.
He's the OG, though.
So funny.
Literally, like his skill set. We're releasing an episode later today, which when you guys hear this, it won't be later today, already be done. But I was talking about, had I known in December when we recorded our last episode, first of all, I would have slowed down and I would have asked for far more stories and let me know the secrets to all this success. I mean, I don't know if you know this or not, but he won like Entertainer of the Year.
Oh, that's cool.
And he did that in Houston, like in such a big market. He did that in Houston.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's amazing.
Well,
and that was before he had even been on radio very long.
It will surprise Sarah not at all to know that I showed up like a nerd with 30 pages of notes.
You did.
And so I was expecting it to be very like NPR. This is what I've accomplished. This is what I'm doing. And he was like, I mean, you can read it if you want.
Yeah, he's like, if you want to, you can do it. But no, you don't need
way
that.
more fun. We talked about Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, we talked about. Yeah, that's what I was going to say with your fun traveling stories. They were wonderful. No, so I'm excited to have you guys. We're in the new studio. Hopefully, Several 270 can make this sound wonderful because I'm learning with acoustics very much so slowly. So let's talk a little bit about what you guys have had going on. First of all, let's talk about the fact that you guys are both running for council. So I'm going to let you go ahead and give your little spill on what district you're from. Let people know that's listening.
I am District 6, which is, we did some redistricting. So people do need to pay attention to that. There are maps online on the city's website. District 6 is right now currently the biggest by land and population. And redistricting occurs every 10 years with the census. We have to even it out. So I have 7,500 constituents currently.
So that's a guaranteed. See, I didn't know that. Every 10 years that's happening.
Yeah, and now it's going to go down to 5,000 because, for example, where you live in District 1, they're only 2,500.
Right.
So there needs to be equal and adequate representation. So we are the southeast hills. I tell folks, my district, it looks weird on a map.
Right.
Because it's not dense, whereas Sarah's population is very dense. I have 2,500 acres. 5,000 people in the next election, and it is basically the hills and trees.
Fun times.
Yeah,
Fun times. So it's going to look a lot bigger compared to other people's just because
it always
of square
has.
footage.
It always has, but where it's spread out in the hills.
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense.
I'm District 4. I'm Southside. Unlike Holly, it basically looks like a giant rectangle under the new maps. It's West 5th to 12th Street and 8th Avenue to Four Pole Creek, basically, and along 13th Avenue. So, like I said,
and it's stuffed full of people.
It is stuffed full of people, but good people. We have
my mother-in-law lives in Southside, so
yeah.
My sister-in-law. Shout out to Erica and Michelle.
Nice.
Point of reference for district is 700 acres.
Holy moly!
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dense.
Yeah. Area-wise, it's one of the smallest.
The details that you remember are astounding to me.
Listen, I can call Holly with a question about the city charter, and she can cite the exact provision that applies.
A rule follower?
I love that.
We're gonna find it.
I love that. I love that.
Well, this is my first time to run for election, and I've been very careful to say keep or elect, because I've been warned that some other appointees in the past have used reelect.
Reelect, right?
And gotten some criticism for it. So
Did you come in when Jennifer went out? Is that how it worked?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's been a long time, actually. It was
Yeah, it feels like it was yesterday, but it has been a while.
July of 2021.
Holy moly.
Mhm.
Time is flying. We were just talking about that before we started recording. I feel like the last 5 to 8 years have literally been the last 3 years. Like it's
Oh, absolutely.
Time is merely a construct at this point. For COVID, during COVID, after COVID, I don't even know. All I know is now I have a middle schooler and no more babies in my house, and it's just time flies.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. You're coaching your daughter's softball team?
Yes, I coach Huntington Little League Majors softball, and I will tell you, I played softball. I was a student athlete. I love sports. I love to play. I played softball for 1 year, my freshman year in high school. I did achieve a varsity letter, which I was very proud of, but it just wasn't for me. And so by the time now, it was 3 years ago. So I'm playing this sport. I don't remember the rules.
That's what I was going to say. Do you remember everything?
They've actually changed. Like I also coach her volleyball team, and the rules even for that have changed since I played in high school. And yeah, we play. Honestly, it's kids sports. I'm not one of those folks that's like.
Do you find yourself like hesitating when you go to like call out something? Like, hold on, am I right about this? Is that the rule now?
It's usually awkward anyways. So I'll say things like, yeah, swing it hard or something totally stupid. My mother is the same way, and I guess apples never fall far from the trees. We just say awkward things.
I love that.
At sports ball games, and yeah, but I'm lucky to have assistant coaches who actually
Know what they're doing.
So I'm like, you handle the practices, teach them the skills. I'll do the communicating, get the concession stands covered. Get the more administrative things done. It is a lot of fun. I love these girls. This age is so fun because, first of all, middle school girls get a bad rap. Teenage girls get a bad rap.
Caroline, correct?
Caroline. But
And how old is she right now?
she'll be 12 next month.
My daughter just turned 11 last weekend.
They're stuck between being a little kid and
Yes.
being a young woman. And it is this uncomfortable phase. It's
Yes.
so uncomfortable. Everything's changing. And it's just, they're so vulnerable and they just want somebody to lead them. And I think they need role models more now than any point
Absolutely.
in their life. So we have fun. We're 0-3 on the season, but we're getting
Ooh.
rapidly better. And we have practice later today. So I just love
So you've got a
hanging around
busy day. I was going to say, the fact that they let you hang out with them lets you know that you're cool.
Well, I did see one outside of practice the other day, and she totally was like, is my coach work showing? Am I
Yeah.
embarrassing? I was like,
Right.
"I'm your mother. Like, I can understand my own kid being
Yeah.
like, God, get away. But it's like,
Not you. I thought you liked me. Right.
I'm
Absolutely.
not cool.
And it's such a impressionable age. With my daughter just turning 11, like I swear I woke up and she had boobs and a butt, and I'm like, what happened? What happened to my little girl?
I was coming and taking my shoes and stuff.
Yes, yes. And I'm a shoe person, so like every time my daughter takes them, I'm like, oh God, I want to be nice. I want to be so kind. I want to be the good friend and let you take the shoes, but I really know what they're going to come back looking like.
Sign them out. and
Yes.
sign them back in.
That's I need to do that. So Sarah, let's talk about some things that you've had going on. I saw on Facebook the other day that you guys teamed up with Habitat for Humanity. Tell me a little bit about that.
We did. So Habitat for Humanity was having their Women Build Week, and some coworkers from OVP Health and I put together a team and went over and built literal walls for a house. And when I tell you that we have no construction experience, that is an understatement. I think we thought that we were going to be painting something, or maybe
You got in a little
know.
deeper than you thought you would.
Yeah, this
Symbolic.
yes. This was not symbolic, and it was not cosmetic work. We were there. We had 2x6s, and we had actual hammers. And at one point, some of the guys that we work with came by just to sort of observe, I guess.
Oh, of course,
And they
of course.
stood around and watched us work and got a whole bunch of grief from the Habitat guys
sure.
who were actually telling us how to build these things. So we were supervised, which was great.
I love it.
But at one point, somebody said, why aren't you all using a nail gun? And we said, that takes all the fun out of it.
Well, and like, what if you nail your finger to a board? Like, that would be my. That would be.
Oh.
Well, yeah. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, we were holding nails
Power
between
tools-
fingers and pounding at
Power
the same time.
nail guns and all that kind of stuff. The air pressured tools, they scare me. They make me nervous.
Yeah. We were at one point given a power screwdriver or a power screw remover drill thing.
Like a-
Yeah, like a drill,
Like a
but
drill.
with a different attachment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
an impact.
I know.
What does my husband call them? Impact drill instead of your regular drill.
No, that's for like a hammer drill. I don't know. But anyway, they gave us,
Totally getting down the road for this.
yes, they gave us one power tool and the rest of the time it was all by
All
hand.
manual.
And so we learned a few things. It's really hard to drive a nail straight.
Yes.
Number one. And also, I don't know, there was just something really empowering and very team building about knowing that we were literally building a structure that people were going to live in and
Right.
raise their kids in.
Right.
This particular home is actually going to go sort of close to your house. It's going to go in the Wayne County part of Huntington.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The Habitat's built a few houses recently down towards Fairfield. So,
yes, I've seen them.
yeah, so actually in Huntington, but this one, apparently there's no Habitat affiliate in Wayne County.
There is not. They closed shop. God, it's probably been 15, 16 years ago, I think.
Yep.
Um,
So they fall under Huntington Habitat, and this one's going to go down towards
well,
the
that's
Wayne County
awesome.
part. Yeah. Yeah, it was very cool.
Sometimes we're forgotten down there on that side of the town, of the city. Thank you. Thank you. Well, and I've loved the I was telling my husband this morning about the redistricting. I was like, you know that the line is, because we were passing the line. I was like, you know, the line is here now for Westmoreland, like for the district, right? And he was like, hold on, are they going to start paying the Wayne County taxes like we do? And I'm like, no, that's not changing. That part's not changing. I'm like, I like where your head's at, though. I love that you want more people to have to pay the double taxes.
I'll give a shout out to Holly because she was pretty instrumental in the redistricting process. I feel like it's more cohesive, like there's more of a plan behind it.
Yeah.
Because before, Harveytown, it currently is and has been part of District 4.
Right.
And I think that the issues that Harveytown faces are more similar to those that the west end of Huntington faces,
Right.
as opposed
Absolutely.
to, South Side. And so they've unified the parts of Fairfield, they've unified the South Side, they've unified the West End. They're looking at natural boundaries and also the characteristics of neighborhoods. And so
Right. And I love that. Like, I love that you said the natural character,
Mhm.
that is so important, because it's so hard for people that know nothing about politics. They know nothing about their community in those ways. That is going to be something that easily is going to help them remember those boundaries and possibly look up and get in touch with their council person.
They gave us, it was really interesting because, like I said, I am a numbers person. They gave us these maps, and each of the basically each parcel where folks live had the number of people, residents who live there. And we were tasked, there were requirements and then strong suggestions and then would be nice to haves.
Yeah.
Like rule regulation wise. And so we've had to follow all those while maintaining these numbers and making sure that it was plus or minus a certain percentage of people. That was a requirement. Keeping neighborhoods cohesive, compact. Of course, my district was hard to keep compact, but it is all one contiguous district.
Right.
It was just there were 5 of us on that committee, and it was a big thought exercise because you do want to maintain neighborhoods. You don't want to silence or oppress any voices whatsoever. Right. And that was so important. And it was a great group of folks working on it. It was drama free. We were able to get it passed. And I was really proud of how we handled it, because it is very easy when redistricting occurs to do things that are not in the best interests of communities.
And knowing now that it only happens once every 10 years. Yeah. Congratulations on that. Yeah.
So maybe I will. I don't know. It was really interesting. It was a pretty cool exercise.
I love that.
And I love me a good map too. They gave us
It's with your data. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
See, I'm not a data person. I'm just like a show me the shiny things person.
Yeah.
it's a good balance.
Yeah. Sarah, I want to talk about the Julia Child. Was it a lookalike contest?
It was not a lookalike contest.
What was the contest? You just did it just because?
No, I did not do it just because. So, SIP does these really great themed dinners, and Allison White is just an amazing chef, and she has a great team. And so they were putting together a dinner that was recipes from Julia Child's The Art of French Cooking cookbook.
Okay.
Well, so on the flyer, it said costume contest, prizes awarded. And I love me a good theme, and I love me a good contest, and I love a costume. And so I was like, I'm going all in with
doing
this.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I ordered the wig and I ordered the clothes, and it was, let me just say it. I even went so far as to order the little patch that she would always
Yes.
wear. I ordered a patch from Etsy, and I just assumed everyone would be all in on this contest thing. But when I was walking in the door, there were these two people behind me that I didn't know, and I heard them say, "Were we supposed to dress up for this?"
Immediately turn around and say, yes, you were. Go home and change.
Yes.
I know. I should have.
How dare you?
Yeah, and I did walk down the street not once but twice because my office is just a few blocks away.
Right.
So I walked there in costume before the dinner and in costume on the way back, and I have no idea what people thought because it was like wig and all.
I love it.
But yeah, I was not the only one dressed up. Taylor Strickland from Austin's in the Market,
Yeah.
Taylor Strickland Chambers now.
Yeah.
She was also dressed up, and there were a few other folks, Allison and her daughter Lillian.
The ones that dress up, that's when you can go into a room and know those are your fun people.
Yeah.
Like they like to have a good
I
time.
screenshot it and send it to her. So please tell me what's going on here, because I think I missed I just missed it somehow.
Yeah.
The event, with everything going on, and I was like, what is happening?
I think I've seen
I love that
it
she walked
on
around down
social.
the-
I think I've seen other
Shame.
people sharing it on social before. You had even posted your selfie, and people,
Oh, really?
and people were like, I think on yours, someone was giving you like the high praises, and you were like, "Oh, from you, like that's amazing."
It was Justin Murdoch.
Oh.
Yes, who is yes, he is fantastic. But
Justin, so he wears his heels a lot, right?
Yes.
Same Justin.
yes,
Okay.
and he's already super tall.
yes.
But the prize was a bottle of wine.
Oh.
So I really feel like my, $10 wig from Amazon and
Less for more.
yeah.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. All right, guys, we're going to play a little game. We're going to do a little this or that, and you guys can both answer, okay?
Okay.
All right. Beach or farm?
Farm.
Oh.
Look at me.
I know we're both like the color of paper.
I Little League game at 60-degree weather last weekend. I was like, never underestimate those
Oh my
people.
gosh, I got some
I
friends
just
that way
honestly,
too.
I should know better. I've been this pale my entire life, but
That's so fun.
farm for sure. As long as I'm not having to do necessarily the farm.
You need someone to do the labor.
I
Yeah.
just want to maybe sit in a hammock and sip lemonade.
I want to like go feed the chickens, and I forget the
Yeah.
guy's name on TikTok, but
Yeah.
he's like, "Get up, bitch! It's time to do farm chores." Like I want to be him.
Yeah.
Like, he's,
You want to be the one waking the
Yeah.
others up.
I'm not up at the sun with the sunlight, scooping them in work
Yeah.
on a farm, but like definitely feed the chickens, pet the goats, go
Yeah.
yoga
Yep.
perhaps.
good. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I got sunburned, as I call it, tending my crops in my south side backyard. I have this tiny little strawberry patch.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. I have two blueberry bushes.
For a garden.
Listen, I'll take my illegal strawberries all year long. But no, yes, and I want to pet that.
garden. I love that.
Yeah, it doesn't get a whole lot of attention,
Get ready for
but yeah, but the
It's there when you're ready.
the strawberries are great. So I'll
Sand is insidious. I don't
Yeah.
even remember the last time I went to the beach, and I think I still have sand in my suitcase from that
Yeah.
trip. I'm like, this is acceptable.
every time.
Mhm.
Every
My car, everywhere.
All right. Bieber or Taylor Swift?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Oh, okay. I think I know the answer to this one, but I'm going to ask anyways. More time or more money?
Time.
Money, but I think more money.
Really? I figured it'd be
More
time
money
for both
because
of
then
you.
I could hire out. I could
Oh.
outsource some things
Yes,
like
that makes
laundry,
sense.
dishes,
That
that would
Mhm.
be chauffeuring.
All right. So this is the major. This or that. This one's really serious. You guys got to have some thought. Ryan Reynolds or Ryan Gosling?
Ryan Reynolds.
No hesitation.
That is hard. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go with Ryan Gosling.
I'm a Gosling gal myself.
The
It was
memes.
funny, but Ryan Reynolds just the way that he and his wife take shots at each other on social media.
Yes,
That's
God,
my
they're so
style.
funny.
Like I
They
love
really
it.
are.
I
They
love
really
it. Like
are.
he posts a picture of his wife looking well about like what I do now, like really ratchet, and he's
Yeah.
like hashtag no filter. Love it. The irony is
They do
yeah.
take stabs at each
No,
other.
I will say Ryan Gosling. Second, loved him as Ken. He's an amazing human, but I'm gonna go with Ryan's.
Right.
The Hey Girl memes. The
I
Ryan Gosling Hey
know,
Girl
I
memes.
know.
That's my
For
favorite.
sure.
And I loved him as what is it on the Scooby Doo movie? What was his
Fred.
Fred?
But he was Fred, wasn't he? Yeah.
Fred. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I loved it.
Yeah, very talented.
Yes,
Very talented.
loved it, loved it, loved it. Okay, so let's talk about events going on in Huntington, where Huntington is and where we're going.
Oh,
Because in the past, we have talked a lot about past Huntington. We want to start talking about future Huntington. So tell me some beautiful,
Well,
wonderful things going on in Huntington, lady.
so I will tell you, I was, even 10, 11 years ago, I was one of those folks. I'm like, man, we really need stuff to do. We need stuff to do. This past weekend, actually, the past frequent weekends
The
for
busiest weekend I've had in my life.
I can't teleport myself to all these things.
Right.
I have to pick and
Mhm.
choose. Like, man, I need to get FOMO, and there's so much going on. First of all, the events. I mean, it's spring, so everyone's kind of coming out,
Right,
Stuff that
right.
get done, the festivals, the events at Marshall, the sports, the various things going on. I mean, there's just too many to name, and we need someone to do like this massive master calendar of some sort.
We really do.
Because
Gosh, we
I'm
need
gonna
one.
need to prioritize. There was just this weekend.
Just to
couldn't
keep up with
possibly make it
sports.
to
Just to
anything.
keep up with sports, you couldn't make it to everything. I know I got up, I went and recorded on Alligator Jackson's podcast. It was fun. Made it to the Loopy Fest, made it to the fountain ceremony, made it to the green and white game, and then back home to do all the mom stuff, and I felt exhausted and only did 4 things.
Yeah,
So,
it was a busy weekend.
yeah.
And see, I did 4 things that were not those same 4 things. That's what I love.
And that's what's beautiful about
Yeah.
Huntington.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it.
And well, the neighborhood cleanups
Yep.
going on yesterday.
Earth
Yep.
Day.
Picked
Yeah.
up trash in the morning.
And then we had an event down at the CPB. Huntington Pride had a candidate event, which was an amazing turnout. I think they got several people registered to vote, which is always
Oh,
the main
yeah.
goal of these events.
Absolutely.
Get out and vote, right? I went to the spring game. I also was like tempted because the spring game started a little bit later. I was like, oh, the softball game's going on. And the stands were
Yes,
full,
they
and
were
the
so
games were
full.
There was a baseball game last night. I
There was a
believe.
baseball game, yeah.
She was at
Baseball
the
going on right now as well.
I was at the Drinko event. Like we were
Yep.
literally 2 floors away from each other last night.
And I'm assuming y'all have been to the baseball field, right? Like,
Yes.
it's
Oh,
gorgeous.
yes.
So much fun. So much fun I've had every time. I have some diehard Marshall fans that live next door to me, and I don't think that they've missed a game.
Really.
Like, they are,
There's
if the stadium's open, like, they are there.
it's a great space.
It really is. It's wonderful. I love the bars across the back. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, when you get sick of setting, you can just go back there and talk to your girlfriends.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's the best. It really is.
So that whole complex right there with the clubhouses and everything. I'm so happy for those athletes that they have the things that they need. I mean, we're Division 1. There's the baseball team was playing out at the Kennedy Center on out too, and
Right.
they're having to call games due to lights and
Right. Absolutely. We
These
needed it.
players. It's a long time coming.
Yeah.
and I'm happy they have these facilities.
Absolutely.
I don't know that I will ever see anything as cool as the home run that was hit on the first pitch that was thrown to a Marshall player in
Right.
the stadium.
Yeah.
Insane.
I mean, it just was wild watching that ball just go. It was
I
so
wasn't
cool.
there, so the crowd probably
wasn't there.
lost it.
Yes, they did. It
Wow.
was
In
amazing.
mind, the ball left the stadium with like green flames behind it.
Oh, yeah.
Fireworks going off. And
Yeah.
It was honestly a gift from the universe.
Yeah,
It's
for
hard-
sure.
hard not to be hyperbolic, but-
No, you really, then, when I was at the fountain ceremony, the guest speaker was talking about when he came to Huntington, he had no ties to Huntington whatsoever. He had just heard about the plane crash and, how hurt the community was. And he just, as a high schooler, was like, Mom, Dad, I want to go visit Marshall University. And he
That's
ended up being on that first year team. And he's like, we lost so much, and he was able to talk almost an hour about the beautiful moments that he experienced as an athlete, these beautiful memories that he made in a losing season.
Yeah.
Like, so to have an hour worth of speaking of beautiful moments that you had, like, I think it's hard to live in Huntington and not get a heartfelt and teary-eyed about any phenomenal thing that happens with our athletes.
There's just like this, almost like this butterfly effect, right? Like I feel like we are always being watched over, as corny as it sounds. And I'm not from the area. Sarah isn't either, but there's almost like this presence
really?
of being watched over. Like, for example, no one where I grew up comes to Marshall. They all go to that school up north. And the
That we
teacher
don't
that
speak
sat
of.
my best friend next to me, my best friend came into town for an event last weekend. He lives in Austin, but he grew up here. He moved to where I'm from, up towards Wheeling, years ago. We were 10 or 11 years old. We were in 5th grade. And a teacher was like, you know what? You'll get along with these 3 kids right here. I'm going to sit you next to them. And it was me and 2 of my other buddies. She went to Marshall University. She died of breast cancer on the anniversary of a plane crash. And I just can't, like, all these things, like a butterfly flapped its wings, and somehow Jason is like, sitting next to me. We end up down in Huntington just because the mall, I'll be honest. As teenagers, we're like, the mall.
Yeah.
And then just, it's changed so much to watch it evolve. It's not the same city it was then. It's so much better.
Right.
And I just feel like we all have guardian angels in this city.
For sure. For sure.
And we're resilient. We bounce back from everything.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. So I have one last question for you guys, since you just shared with me that you're not native.
Mhm.
What brought you to Huntington and what made you stay?
I'll let you go.
I am not a Huntington native, but my family is from Ashland. They've been in Ashland for 4 generations. My great grandfather came from Italy, and this was where they wanted to raise their family. Yeah, it was very cool. My dad worked for Ashland Oil, and he was transferred to Houston when I was about to start 4th grade. So I was down in Texas for 18 years. I grew up in Houston, and then I lived in Austin for 10 years, went to UT, Hook 'em Horns. And
G would be dying right now.
sorry.
No, he loved, like, he lived in Houston for a very long time. That's where he went to college and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. But my mom always said, no matter how long I lived in Texas and no matter how young I was when we moved there, whenever someone would ask me where I was from, I always said Kentucky.
I love that.
I went back to law school as a non-traditional student. I was 27 when I started. And when I was making that major change in my life, I thought, if I'm ever going to go back home, this is the time that I'm going to do it. So I didn't apply for law schools outside of Kentucky, even though it cost me dearly because they considered me to be out of state.
Right.
And then once I graduated, I didn't look at jobs outside of the tri-state. And at the time I came back, Huntington looked really different than it does now. It had definitely started its evolution, but it wasn't quite there. And I started practicing law at Jenkins Fenstermaker, and they're still my very, very dear friends. But they were officing in the Coal Exchange building at the time, and they were moving their office from the Coal Exchange building to, I think it's technically called Capitol Center. I always call it like the Raymond James building.
Raymond James
whatever.
building. Yeah.
And yeah. And so even though I interviewed in the Coal Exchange building, and even though the Capitol Center office was literally studs and plywood, they said, we're going to walk you down the street and we're going to show you that we are actually building this new office. But it was important to them to be part of downtown.
The innovation.
Yes. Yeah. And it's wonderful. It's just so wonderful to see. And this Huntington, you all talked about special moments that athletes have in Huntington. I make no secret about, I think we've all at one point struggled with our mental health.
Yes.
I was not happy when I lived in Austin. Everybody thinks it's a great city. It is a great city, but it's hard to get involved, and it's hard to kind of break into that, because when you're in bigger cities, weirdly enough, volunteering and community service is almost a society thing.
Right.
Like, you've got to get to a certain point. So when I was moved back to Huntington and didn't know anybody because all my friends were long gone, I went to I'll give another shout out to a couple of people. I went to a Chamber of Commerce Young Professionals Happy Hour. It was out at Schooners, which is, yeah.
We love Schooners.
Yes, we do love Schooners. But I went up to the bartender because I knew no one. And I gave her a big tip. And I said, show me who's in charge of this event. And she said, that woman right there. And it was Jennifer Wheeler.
Oh, love Jen.
So Jen was the first person that I met in Huntington. And she said, well, if you want to get involved, I've really got some people that you need to meet. And so I met Anna Laffrey. She's Anna Kraft now, and she was working at the museum. And she said, we're really looking for volunteers. And I thought, yeah, right. Like, you're going to let this newbie come.
Right?
Yeah. And she called me the Monday after that. And she said, look, if you're in, we would love to have you.
Yeah.
And I just have never in my life lived somewhere where I felt so embraced and so welcome. And like, if you want to make this community a better place,
Show up.
there's no
Excuse.
right. There's no, and there's no gatekeeping.
None.
You know, there's
None.
there's just not. They just want people to roll up their sleeves and work and support our nonprofits and support the folks that could use an extra hand in our community. And
Literally, my daughter at the time was probably 7. We painted the viaducts.
Yeah.
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
7 years old, and
Yeah.
she's out there painting viaducts. So there's no excuse not to show up
right.
and help your community.
And that's a lot longer answer than you were probably
No,
looking
I
for.
love it. I love it.
But it speaks to what's in.
No,
Go for it.
no, you're no, we're
And
fine.
I think it speaks to like, so I came down to Huntington in the 5th grade for a social studies project or social studies fair. And I vividly remember thinking Huntington was literally just a sheet of asphalt with weeds coming up in the air. And my mother will tell you that I said, I will never go to school here. I'll never say never. Every time I say never, my kids will never do that because it happens.
It's happening.
I mean, I had some options academically to go elsewhere, and Marshall was just the best fit. But what Sarah mentions too about this phenomenon of volunteering and getting engaged, I was fortunate enough to have people like, Jen Wheeler, for example, was one of the first people.
She's like the best matchmaker in the community.
And then I also was fortunate to have another generation of women above me who took me under their wing and said, come join us in this because this is going to be passed on to you in their own way. And it was folks like Ann Barrett Tao and Ann McGee and Kathy Haig. And I remember Melissa Foster Bird and Buffy Hammers being at events.
I love this.
They're always, it was like they were saying, one day we're not going to be as involved, and it's these are different generations of women. And I think Sarah and I embraced that too. And there are definitely women younger than us that we've seen at council meetings and people working at Marshall and students. And we're like, come with us. Give me your young squishy brain.
Like be a girl's girl.
Yeah.
You have to be.
It just really, it's empowering, and it's just an amazing community. There are helpers everywhere.
It's the true concept of stewardship. So I'm on the board of directors of the Ronald McDonald House. I'm on the board of directors of Harmony House. Both of those boards still have founding board members. At Harmony House, it's Betty Barrett, who of course is Ann's mother. Yeah. And at the Ronald McDonald House, it was Sally Lowe and Michelle Craig and Susan Haig and the people who had literally built those organizations. And it's just incredible to see the pride that they have in it and the connection that they still have. But also, like Holly said, they were so welcoming to me. I mean, any question that I had, how did this get started? How did you do that? I mean, they love to share their knowledge and their legacy. And it's really incredible.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would mirror what both of you said. There is not a situation that I have gone into, even just meeting the two of you, where I'm like, hey, girl. And you guys were just like, oh, hey, want to hang out?
Come on in. The water's warm.
And
you're going to get put to work.
And it's a beautiful thing because I've worked in every county in West Virginia prior to my job now. And not every community is this way.
Right.
So we're very, very lucky to have Huntington, and we are growing so rapidly.
Goodness.
Like I can't wait to see what Huntington is like for my children.
Well, my brother lives in Tallahassee. He graduated from Marshall, and he comes in maybe twice a year with his kids, and every time he's like, it's so clean. And it's so
I think people
different.
don't realize that don't get out of Huntington.
And I don't have rose-colored glasses on. I understand there are problem areas in certain areas.
Absolutely.
We certainly have our issues that we need to address and fix, and we actively do that.
Yes.
I mean, things keep us up at night. But even my best friend that came in from Austin, he was like, I can't believe he hadn't been here since before the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
He could not believe. I mean, we went downtown and had a beer at Summit in a Poda cup. He's like, you mean to tell me that I can walk.
I can walk out of this place.
And it's a small thing. It's a
Yes.
big thing. And it's not about beer. It's not about alcohol. It's about progress and keeping up with the times. And he said, we have a wine bar in Huntington. I'm like,
Right.
dang, fine wine bar.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like, I have a locker.
Let me show you the locker.
I know.
Yes.
And just Heritage Station and how adorable it is. And there are just so many pockets of greatness in the city and more to come.
There really
and
is.
I love that we're not just, downtown's a big deal. It's a hub, right?
It is.
You have to get
Absolutely.
your downtown in line, but also West 14th and
We have West Edge Factory in Westmoreland. Yeah.
And then, the Howe Grove corridor.
It's getting there. It's getting there.
Lovely. We will get there. Gallagher Village, we're working on a streetscape. We're working on, in Fairfield and Highlawn, different things. So it's not just downtown. It's these little neighborhood nodes
Right.
all over. And that will keep us thriving because
Absolutely.
this is how you build a great city. And
Absolutely.
It's happening. It just takes time.
Absolutely. Well, and it takes all of us adding that helping hand.
Yeah.
So I encourage everyone to get out, offer that helping hand, show
Grab a
up.
hammer, raise
Yeah.
a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Literally.
Like
Absolutely.
Barn raising. Like, it's just sitting there like,
Oh, listen, we had to stand those walls up and push them outside. It
narrated.
it was so great and
We have
true.
to ask if they've got it on, if they've recorded it on security cameras.
Oh, there are pictures. There are pictures on social media, but true to the idea of Women Build Week, it was cold and it was rainy, and so they let us build our walls inside the Restore building so that we did not have to get wet. But then we had to stand them up and push them.
That's very kind of them.
Oh, they're great.
They really are the best. I always give to Habitat before I give to anyone else. I love their philosophy and what they entail.
Mhm.
Yes, beautiful. All right, ladies. Well, thank you guys for being on the Tri-State Time Machine.
Thank you.
That's our
Honor.
honor. It's
I mean,
exciting.
This is probably emotional and a big deal for you. And
This
I'm
is
just
big.
honored.
This is
Yeah.
really big.
I'm honored that we're a part of it.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys.
We can't wait to hear it. Actually, I will tell you, you have a listener in Florida, Jacksonville, Florida.
Do I?
Yes, I sent this link and to a friend. It was
Not me going home to check in my stats.
And my husband, when I was walking out the door, he's like, "You have to make sure to tell Daniel there's a new episode." And his
Oh, nice.
was in the car. And she
One's
said,
releasing today, so let them know.
She said, her name's Reagan. She's in middle school, and she said, "Why does that voice sound familiar?" And he's like, "That's your Aunt Holly." She's like, now she wants to start a podcast.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, and so it's just a chain of events.
I
right?
love
It's
that.
amazing. So I'll make sure to send them this and make sure that Reagan
Yes,
her name
please.
got name dropped twice.
Yes.
Nice.
Podcast, and she should
The top, one of the top 10 podcasts in West Virginia. Tell her that. Yeah.
Very cool. What does she want her podcast to be about? I have
It
to
was,
ask.
and it was a really great topic. And I told her we were mind melding one night. And it was like kind of like tween talk, middle school talk, because this is the media.
Yeah.
This is the medium that they communicate through.
Yes.
They're not picking up YM magazine or Tiger
Right.
Beat like we did.
I know. They're not
Right.
plastering
So-
them on their wall.
Sassy.
What's the best mascara? No, they want to have real conversations.
Yeah.
I'm encouraged by this next generation. They're gonna make big changes and move mountains, but
I agree.
that kind of spunk and tenacity. I'm excited for her to take this. So
I'm excited. You have to keep me
That's
posted on how that works out for her. All right. Well, shout out to Circle 270 Media and Alex White PLC. We're excited to be back, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for listening to the Tri-State Time Machine, brought to you by Alex R. White, PLLC, at SueDistractedDriver.com. If you have a memory you want Vanessa to talk more about, just send her an email at tstm@mail.com or post a comment on the Tri-State Time Machine Facebook page. Did you like the episode? Be sure to share it with friends and family. It's the only way we can continue this fun work that we do. You can find a link in the show notes that you can use to share it. And be sure to let our sponsors know you like the podcast as well. Their contact information can be found in this episode's show notes.